let's get into NBA draft being a week away, and nobody seems to be talking about it, and I'm like tad bit confused. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world, but what does that mean about this draft class if we're a week away, and I have no idea who's going 1, 2, 3. You think LaMelo should be picked 1 through 10 and just kind of have like a joint custody thing? What does this mean for this draft class?
People are pretty down on the draft class. They're saying it's not great. I couldn't believe it was only a week away. Like, even I was surprised. I don't know. I thought it was further out, but no one knows who the number 1 pick is going to be. If you look at like all the draft experts, they all say LaMelo should go number 1. But then if you listen to all like the analysts who like talk to GMs, they're like, LaMelo might go 7 or 8 to like the Pistons or Knicks. So it makes no sense. I think the hard part is they've had like 18 months to figure this out. Like, it's like the longest draft process ever. You have guys that like would be sleepers, and like there's no way to be a sleeper because like everyone's seen and talked about every single guy a lot. Overall though, like it's definitely not it's not the strongest draft at the top. But I think there's a lot of guys as you get into the later rounds. I mean, like some of our favorite guys like Cassius Stanley, Vernon Carrier, guys that aren't even getting talked about, but we like know could be like very solid NBA players. Do you think this is a good draft? And put your GM hat on. Who are you trying to get if it's not like one of those top few guys?
Who might like a non kind of like a sleeper in this draft?
Yeah, you're picking like 14, so like you could really pick whoever you want. I mean, if you want to trade up and get one of your guys in the top 10, that's fine. But
here's what all teams need to do, and we are going to be a very pro this guy podcast for the next couple weeks here. Deni Avdia, but we are pro draft Deni. I'm trading up and getting Deni. I think he's a Luka type guy, not just because he's not from America, but I'm
exactly what you're saying.
Deni. I love Deni, and trade up, get him. That's my only thing in this draft at this point.
Deni is someone who, when I first saw him, we like filmed a couple times. We did some stuff with him. Our guys flew out and met him, right, Spencer?
Yeah, they went to Israel last summer.
And they came back and they were like, he is a stud. And I was like, I don't know. Like, my whole thing with international players is like, I want to see them dominate overseas, because I think that like that's what Luka did, right? He was like the best player overseas.
Right.
And he ended up having like a really good season this past season. So people are really high on him. Some people are saying they would take him over Wiseman if they were the Warriors. I'm getting warm on him. I do think he's going to be really good. So people are saying he's one of the few guys that can come in and like start day one. So I like your pick on Deni. Where do you think he ends up?
I literally, I'm like everybody else at this point. I don't know where he's going to end up. All I wanted to get at what you just said is America needs to take a page out of the European book and go to all like club program style. I think it'd be sweet to see that, because it makes guys so much more, ready for the NBA. And now some people are going to disagree and say college basketball is the way to do it. But the way I look at it, NCAA college basketball is like kind of like it's being phased out every year, just kind of with their rules, regulations and stuff like that. And we're moving towards like we need a change for amateur basketball, and should they be paid, should they not be paid, whatever. The way they do it in club over in Europe and stuff, like Deni and Luka and all these guys are playing professionally from the time that they're 16 up. You know what I mean? They're ready for professional basketball because they're playing against NBA ready or professional athletes from the time that they're 16. And if they're good enough, they don't, have to follow this rank and order. They'll play for, Barcelona or whoever the best team that they can play for in their country is. I think that's, what we should move to eventually. I would like to see it.
And honestly, that's why I've always been high on LaMelo. Like, I actually didn't hate, like everyone hates that he went to Lithuania because he did not play well. It was like definitely not a great situation. LeVar was coaching some games. It was just like a media circus. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like he played professional basketball. But I actually like that LaMelo went overseas because he didn't do the same processes like Deni and Luka and all these guys, but like at least he got a taste of that. And I think a lot of being in the NBA is adjusting to the lifestyle. You're like, all of a sudden you're on your own in an apartment and like figuring stuff out and having to go to the gym on your own and train and do all these other things and eat well. So I actually think that take away the college part, like you said, Deni was like probably a pro at like 16, and like Luka was a pro. It feels like when he was like 12.
Right.
And you start to get really acclimated with it. So I agree. I do think that could happen. For you and like for the U.S. players, I also would be worried though, right? Because like I think guys come into college kind of image. Like, why do you think the guys overseas like are so ready to play professional basketball at such a young age? Where like guys here like AAU and
different culture. That's what it all comes down to. I mean, you go over to any European country and like fundamentals and, you know, quote unquote playing the game the right way is pushed. They're more like traditionalists in how they play the game. And it's not AAU. It's not about, you know, a media circus, kind of like how America is turning into, you know, basketball and media combining. And it's not a bad thing. It's getting a lot of kids opportunities, and that's great. But in Europe, it's less of that. There's just not as much, you know, attention on them, at least at a young age. It allows them to really hone in on their like fundamental skills of the game of basketball. That's why you see Luka, like he's one of the most like crisp players. And when I say that, if you've ever watched him, you understand that. From all his movement, there's no wasted motion. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but that's the thing. In Europe, they take guys who maybe aren't the most athletic and they turn them into NBA prototype players because they just don't mess up. They don't make mistakes.
Let's each give not where they're getting drafted, but who our top 5 guys are. All right, I'm gonna start it off so I can give you some names. All right.
Okay.
Number 1, obviously I have LaMelo, 6'7", point guard. I think he has the most upside if he's in the right spot, which I'm really nervous about. I think is next level. Wiseman is number 2 for me. I'm not like that obsessed with big men. Like I think it kind of is terrible, but I actually think he'll like develop a jump shot. I think he's the most athletic player in the draft. He's just really good. Like there's no doubt in my mind he's like a 15-year NBA player. 3rd, Anthony Edwards. My thing with Anthony Edwards, I know that a lot of people think he's the best player in the draft. For me, I think he's insane and like could be that. But like the shooting's a little sketchy. And I don't know, I get weird. And I know you played like, I get weird about the guys who went to schools that like aren't basketball schools. And some of the stuff that like not always playing against the best competition in some spots. I don't know. There's something about him that I'm a little nervous about. Number 4, Deni. I think he's really good, and we'll see where he goes. It depends where he goes, obviously, but a lot of these guys, I think it just depends where they end up. Number 5 is like impossible to pick if you top him. I think like he's a little bit older. He was the best player in college basketball last year, I think. And I think that he'll come in, and no matter where he is, he'll at least be able to play and be like defense, athlete, be able to score a little bit. So that's my top 5. Do you disagree with me at all? LaMelo, Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, Deni, and then Obi.
I disagree with you a little bit. So I'm going to go just my...
LaMelo's not in your top 5. We can't be friends.
Relax. Calm down. Nobody's friendship is in, you know, the balance of this. I'm going to go Wiseman 1, though. And I think Wiseman, you say... Absurd that you just say, like, I'm not too high on big men. Also another great play on words. But the fact that you're not high on big men is like, what? Anthony Davis just won the world championship with LeBron, yes, but without AD, are we talking about an LA Lakers championship? I don't know.
That's fair.
I'm not a LeBron hater, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go James Wiseman is my number 1. Then I'm gonna go LaMelo at 2. He's extremely versatile. We've heard enough about it. And
Let's go.
DraftDenny.com at number 3. Draft Deni. I think he's a great pick for just about any team. And then I'm going to switch it up on you. I'm going to go Tyrese at 4. He's versatile as hell. He's got he's got the highest basketball IQ in the draft, I believe. And he's a Wisconsin guy, so I'm extremely biased, and that's my guy. So I'm going to go him at 4. And then I'm going to stay with Obi Toppin at 5.
OT is everywhere, fam. I'm talking worldwide. So rep your city with the OT City Tees. You see I'm holding down New York? Yeah, you know that's right. And don't forget to subscribe over here and check out more fire videos over here. You know what it is. It's Big O.